The psychology report could find no theory that made any sense. I could only guess there was an unknown element that Mr. Stringfellow was having trouble getting over. Day 38. Jesus loves the fallen, and few have fallen from a greater height than Engelbert J. Stringfellow. I'm fascinated just watching him squeak his way across the shiny linoleum tiles of his ground floor room on the sunny side of the avenue. His clothes are one half of a heather grey rehab tracksuit, and his hair is a shock of tired locks that match. He draws a line across the hopscotch of day squares on his fireman calendar and turns down the volume on his music box before jockeying himself into position next to me with a joystick on his electric wheelchair. He tried to work his ticket clever rather than do his rehabilitation in jail. His original tariff was 30 months. Engelbert has been in Clifton House for 20 years. His father, Rupert, was a city banker and arranged for his son to live in an apartment at Effingham Hall, where he spent most of his days tinkering around with his toolkit in the stables. He attacked his landlord, a slight mild-mannered member of the aristocracy, who was up in the tower listening to the radio, just trying to follow the rugby, when he had to run out and tackle Engelbert about the noise of his hammering. So Engelbert hammered him, and the slim, silver-haired Duke slipped into the warm summer soil like the aerial on his brown Rolls-Royce. Out of the window, Engelbert loves watching the rabbits bounce across the lawns, and in between eating his lunch he sings his favourite song. I lost my arm in the army, I lost my leg in the navy, I lost my cock in the butcher's shop and found it in the gravy. He did lose his arm 42 years ago, on the morning of his 21st birthday. Caught up in the excitement of receiving a new watch and trying to be ahead of time on his motorbike, he went racing down the lane and hit a car. When he recovered enough to get up from his mangled bike to remonstrate with the driver, he noticed that the arm that was hanging from the vehicle licence plate of the car in front of him was wearing his watch. He thought this was all a bit strange until he saw the blood spurting from the warm burrow of his torn shirt, so he just held on to what was left and did as he still could do in those days, run for his life. Stringy spoons powdered milk into a teacup of Darjeeling, clamps a brake on a tyre and says breezily that he would give his right arm to be ambidextrous. He asked for the leg to be amputated after he dislocated his paralysed hip, and the staff took 3 hours to run him to a medic. It was a blood clot, he told me with a smile. I sleep in a fetal position, and when I try to put my knees together, I still get a phantom limb pain. The brain doesn't believe what the eyes are seeing, you see, so it just keeps on sending down a signal, just to make sure. Wonderful thing, the brain. The pain where my fingers used to be is the most annoying, like a thumbnail pressing between my fingers. You wouldn't believe it, my risk factor doubled after I had the leg removed. How could that be, I asked. The doctor thinks I'm trying to escape, bit by bit, he said with a gurgle. I tiptoed round the conversation and asked if he broke the other leg in the accident. I broke both legs in a total of 10 places, he says to me, taking a sip from his cup, and I shall never visit those places again. I tried to change the subject completely by commenting on how clever I think his chair is, and left myself wide open again by asking if it was expensive. Cost me an arm and a leg, he reels off through a grin that dislodges his top set of dentures. The composed after-chuckles suggest he'd reeled off the line 1,000 times. He begins to shuffle around in the chair. In a moment he was comfortable again, poised, pensive, and peering over the top of his glasses. As he waited for me to prompt another one of his gags, his hand jumped spontaneously until the teacup bounced between saucer and lip, and a slip of tea spilled on his jersey. His eyelid began to twitch. He told me that he damaged his brain in the accident, but nature repaired it by encapsulating the blind spot in a ball of cerebral spinal fluid. It didn't stand up in court. He put down the cup and picked up a fork. While pushing a piece of stewed liver around his plate, he sang his little song again. I lost my arm in the army, I lost my leg in the navy, I lost my cock in the butcher's shop and found it in the gravy. He rounded off by adding that he had no plans to visit a butcher's shop any time soon.